You know, when I asked God to be a part of history, this isn't the type of thing I meant. Good afternoon, party people. This is your girl, Yael, aka Becky with the blue hair, and this is your news with a view. Up first, Los Angeles County is swamped trying to handle the COVID-19 pandemic. Reports are saying that EMTs and emergency services are being told to, quote, leave those behind that don't look like they could be helped. Oh yeah, we're in that part of the apocalyptic timeline. Keep not wearing a fucking mask. The measure has been taken as a lot of the hospitals have run out of room to treat patients. I've been in crowded emergency rooms when it wasn't a pandemic and that shit was terrible. I can't imagine what this shit looks like. Next, where's Jack Jack? Rockstar in training billionaire mogul Jack Ma has reportedly not been seen in 2 months after coming under fire for apparently criticizing Chinese regulators. Jack, you in your 50s. You know the People's Republic of China don't play that shit. Apparently, the offending comments referred to Chinese regulators as being old school and in need of a serious upgrade to make way for the new. This is why I fucks with Jack, though. The regulators weren't having any of his young man talk and had blocked his Ant Group IPO late last year. Funny thing is, he was initially reported missing because China is not too keen on letting people who speak out remain in power. Speaking of dictatorships, Mike Pence, aka Flypaper, is looking like the last stand between us and the Cheeto Reich. I never thought I'd be rooting for Mike Pence. Pence is currently under pressure from the Cheeto in charge to overthrow the Electoral College's legal and fair election results. I see media outlets comparing him to a child, but I think that's insulting to children. At least they give up being stubborn after a juice box and a nap. Trump was overheard telling voters in Georgia on Tuesday that Pence was all that stood between them and a free and fair election. Oh, Donald, we made the choice. I didn't even vote, but I saw the people go vote, and they made their choice. Live with it, dude. Telling his audience that, quote, if Mike Pence didn't do what he wanted him to do, he wouldn't like him very much. Is this dude auditioning for Mean Girls? All jokes aside, though, I recently came across a Chinese quote whose rough translation went something like this. It is better to be a dog in a time of peace than a person in a time of turmoil. The idea being that nobody wants to live through end times. I know me personally, one of the biggest prayers I had since I was 5 was, God, don't let me live through the apocalypse. I read Revelations a lot as a kid. It did things to my head. Now that I'm living through these historical times with my family and friends, between this disease which threatens to wipe out the U.S. healthcare system, along with other countries who haven't done the work of places like Japan and certain parts of Africa to slow down the infection rate, watching world leaders fiddle away, or in the case of our president, trying to perform an illegal coup with plenty of support from rabid-ass followers, and other state officials, I must stress this part. It's putting a lot of things into perspective for me. Taking care of my health is no longer an option, it's mandatory. I live in Georgia, a place where despite the rising infection rates, they refuse to wear masks. And somehow the leading candidates have convinced a large swath of people to vote against their own self-interest because of radical socialism. I'm unemployed, but I'm too broke to qualify for food stamps. So saving money is important now. And as a wife and mother, whose husband only recently recovered from a COVID-19 infection, I learned to put down my work when the time comes and not overstretch myself so that I can actually spend time with the family that I'm working for. Because there's a very real possibility that if they get deadly sick with these overflowing hospitals, I might not see them again. Last year I was stressing purpose because I thought that that was the reason for living. But call it a pandemic Pixar intervention, because now I see the only thing that really matters is just living with my people and enjoying my life. Can't tell if I'm becoming stoic or just embracing optimistic nihilism. But living day to day to me is the only thing that matters anymore. That and cursing out Mitch McConnell. Mitch better have my money. Give me my fucking money, Mitch. I get the bulk of my news from TMZ, Twitter feeds, CNN, and a couple of other places. But if you see something you want me to cover, don't be shy, tag me in.